Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to the XRP holders. You guys are amazing. You guys are showing tremendous amount of support. Continue supporting and you will see a continuation of these daily updates. I'm sure you guys know there's so much going on right now, for XRP. A lot of announcements coming out, from Ripple. And there's so much happening, and this is why we're bringing you guys these updates. Would love to have you guys join the Crypto ZX army if you have not done so already. But let's take a look at what's going on. So long-term Bitcoin holders have reached an all-time high, with supply held for 155 plus days, signaling strong conviction and reduced sell pressure. What's going on? It's obviously long-term accumulators, and believe it or not, these long-term accumulators are big players, major asset managers, governments around the globe that are wanting to get this asset and actually building reserve. There's obviously reserve conversations, which I'm sure you guys know of, and really shows you how this is really being treated as that digital gold, the way things are moving. And I believe we're still in the very early stages of that. But if you're looking across the board right now, of course, I'm sure you guys know the last 24 hours we did see a retracement due to the CME futures being closed. But as we are going into Saturday morning, starting to see the market kind of bouncing, and looking at the price of XRP, $2.23, up 0.2% in USD and about 0.5% in Bitcoin comparative. Market cap at 131.7 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about $1.6 billion. Before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So stablecoins make up 1.1% of the US dollar supply, with startups set to drive further growth. I'm sure you guys have heard about stablecoin adoption, globally, and especially within the US, a lot of conversations happening. And I totally agree with this, and I think this could really increase as we do go into the future. But look at this, this is something I wanted to kind of literally emphasize a little bit more on, kind of go over this, because this really opens a lot of people's eyes. So real OGs caught XRP at 0.5, so like 50 cents, where you drop your entry. David Schwartz, I'm sure if you guys are part of the XRP community, you guys know who David Schwartz is. He's a CTO at Ripple. He commented saying 0.006 cents. Of course, at the early stages of Ripple existence back in 2013, XRP was even cheaper than this. But what if I told you, I know people are going to be like, Crypto ZX, you fumbled one of the craziest, times. But what if I told you back in 2016 is when I have seen, when I came new into the market, I've shared the story with you guys hundreds and hundreds of times. This is where I did see XRP roughly around this range. I've seen it with my own eyes, and believe it or not, I've seen Ethereum with my own eyes at $6 per coin, and now where it's at. So look, it takes conviction, right? And I'm sure David Schwartz obviously believes in the vision of Ripple and has held, these coins. Of course, I'm not saying that there's no point that he is not taking profits. I'm sure he has taken profits along the way. But in a grand scheme of things, I'm still, quite optimistic that, he holds a huge chunk of it because he believes in it. Remember, there's a famous saying, be greedy while others are fearful, be fearful while others are greedy. The ones that were accumulating during the bloodbath, during, major amounts of FUD that came in front of XRP, especially, for that lawsuit, are the real winners, because people have been accumulating since then, and now they're just like chilling. They're just like, oh, it is accumulating nicely around this $2.30 range. We'll take that. But it takes conviction, and he has come a long way, and I'm sure there are a lot of people within the community that have come a long way since then as well. And it takes patience, right? It's not going to happen overnight. But of course, one thing we need to keep in mind is around the time of this, when Ripple was at, when XRP, and believe it or not, it was called Ripple back in the day. I'm sure if you are an OG, you know about this, but you can see this for yourself. Around here, there was not anything, as to what's happening now. All this adoption that we're seeing happening globally, that was not there at that time. companies actually raising, funds to actually have an XRP reserve. I'm sure this used to be a far-fetched dream at that time, and here we are, really seeing how far things have gone. And when you look at it from this perspective, you really understand how far it has come. Let's actually take a look at it from max. You can see 37,836 percent in terms of gains for XRP. But let's move forward. And actually, I do want to know from you guys in the comments, when did you buy XRP? This is really going to be interesting to see where people were and when you were accumulating. Let me know in the comments down below. But look at this, new all-time highs in the New York Stock Exchange breadth. So you can see this for yourself. This index right here is showing the strength of the broader market. The stock market is gaining a lot of traction. We've been speaking about the traditional equity markets quite a bit recently, and they have been booming. And you can see it with the new bill that has passed. Obviously, short small cap coins. I don't know why I keep saying coins. I'm so hooked into crypto, but I meant small cap companies are going to, I think, really see an increase as well due to the fact that there are some incentives. So maybe the stock market goes even higher, and of course if the rate cut happens, I think that is that pivot moment that we all are waiting for, and I think that's where altcoins really go crazy. And in terms of timing, everything is aligning, but we got to take it, of course, one step at a time. But do let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. But let's take a look at this. Slowly but surely, the RWA value will grow even further the more tokenized efforts that we see on the XRPL ledger. And we can see a lot is happening, and I think it is going to grow much more in the future. You can see Mercado Bitcoin, the largest digital asset marketplace in Latin America, has announced a plan to tokenize more than $200 million worth of permission real world assets on the XRPL ledger. There we go. More and more things happening on the XRPL ledger. But now if you're looking at the dominance, it has pulled down over the course of the last 2 to 3 hours to be exact, which is always nice to see. If you're looking at BTC, Bitcoin is pushing towards the upside. Let's give it a refresh live to see. Bitcoin's currently sitting at $108,000. So since our last update, we have seen a bounce, which of course is always nice to see. And I'm still targeting $109,000 for Bitcoin in the next few hours, especially if we're able to hold around this range. Obviously, there is resistance, from last December, which was an all-time high, and then another resistance around 109,400. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing a little bit of choppy levels, but I do project that we could see this happening. And I did indicate in my last update as well that 113,000 is where $5 billion worth of shorts get liquidated. So are whales really going to push the price of Bitcoin above there? I have a strong feeling yes, we are going to see those shorts being liquidated. And this is a continuous reminder, you want to stay away from leverage trading platforms. If you are interested in crypto, do your due diligence research and invest what you can afford to lose. And pretty much patience is your number one key to follow, because leverage trading market can fluctuate so much. It's volatile, and believe it or not, most of the time you do end up losing money than actually making some. Listen from me, I've been in this space for so long. I've had my fair share of leverage trading. I've lost thousands and thousands of dollars, and I would never wish that upon anyone. I think the best way to accumulate altcoins or Bitcoin is to actually hold it via spot rather than actually leverage trading. But if you're looking at XRP right now, you get $2.22.7, looking really nicely, bouncing with the broader market. Target remains to be the same at $2.34. We want to break out of that range and then head towards the 23.6. But we got to take it one step at a time. Love you all. See you later. Been Crypto ZX, and peace out.